My name is Ram Poudel, and I'm at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. Today I'm going to talk about the social energetics. Energetics is simply a science of studying energy and its transformation. In this presentation, I'll try to apply laws of energy in the fields that have long resisted them, something like a social science. Measurement and logic are general methods in all sciences. Probably most of us we agree. And most of the subjects that involve measurement in the natural science are based on the concept of space, time, and energy, or some kind of force. But that's not the case in social science. Social science is it to identify, not identify, but to quantify social forces and the social energy. And that's what I'm going to try here. I'll utilize concepts from a classical field theory to define social energy of an individual and utilize laws of thermodynamics. Michael Polanyi is one of my heroes. He asserted that the continuity of study of nature and the continuity and the study of the man, and we just need a higher mode of comprehension. I'll start with the field. What does field does? Earth's magnetic field deflects high energetics photons from the sun and makes our blue planet Earth habitable. And it's a fundamental property of the Earth, and that sets it apart from many other planets. I thought maybe this field has something to do with what we do. And I started looking at the field theory in social sciences. There is a German book by Harald May, thanks to Douglas Scott, who translated this into English. Otherwise, many of us would not know about that. There are many other field theories in social science, something related to the geography, spatial science, also related to the economic, but that's not mentioned in the book. There is one other article by John Martin. I think he recently moved to the University of Chicago from Wisconsin, and he has written 50-page article about what's its field theory, but in essence, what he comes out of is field theory is a very good analytical tool for the social sciences. That's what, and in a nutshell, from a standpoint of the natural science or as an engineer, mechanical engineer, that's what the field theory is. You have an object, something like Earth, that creates a field around it. And within that field, there is a second object, Y, and that Earth induces energy, a potential energy on the second object. And that potential energy is something like kxy by r. And force is simply rate of change of that potential energy, or alternatively, potential gradient. And that formalism is same all across, whether you look at the gravitational field, electrostatic field, or magnetic field. And in such kind of field, this relation holds true. Total energy is equals to negative of kinetic energy, and which is equals to half of potential energy. Especially that's true for the field for which the potential is inversely proportional to the distance. And I believe that the field exists. The closest I can find in the social science is the Kurt Lewins. He came up with the force field analysis. That's the closest we have in the social science. And in order to quantify the social field theory, I have to characterize human, and I also have to characterize the society. And I look at the scripture, Holy Scripture, and many more, and some say man is tripartite, some say four, some Islam, Sufi philosophy says it's a 7 parts, but I will characterize human by its one single parameter, that is individual, the strength. The second one is I need to characterize the society. The Iron Lady said there is no such thing as a society. Sometimes Charlie reflects that, saying that we are an international association, not a society of biophysical economics. That's fine. But whenever I'm talking about the human subject, I'll trust more the sociologist or anthropology like Durkheim. Now I have to characterize society, and this guy, Paul Reisselfield, back in 1958, came up with the 3 variables to characterize the society. He calls it global properties, analytical properties, and the structural properties. Global property is based upon the society, not on the individual. Individual property is based upon the member, like human. And the structural properties describes the relation between these two. And this global properties has been further elaborated by Professor Kenneth Bailey. He's from UCLA. And this is my simplest model of a society, 2-member society. And it's an open secret that in a society the powerful try to bend their rule in their favor. And they come to a rules by some democratic means. And we can assume that social strength is concentrated somewhere at the peak. And these are the social distance. I didn't like the term social distance. It has a negative connotation. Therefore, I came up with another variable. I call it trust vector, which is the reciprocal of social distance. These variables are not yet defined. Therefore, I had to come up with the composite variable. Just to be brief, kinetic energy in a social field corresponds to the capital, and the potential energy corresponds to the capabilities defined by the Amartya Sen. And this is what the kinetic energy and the social energy, they summit each other, and that's what it is. And this relation is from a general relation from all field theory. And I owe a lot to these guys who have done great things before, and it's simply a logical continuation of what they, and I believe it's a necessary of how the science is developed. And I'll skip because of the time. Ecological economics started with energetics as a base, but looks like they had strayed from a course. And energetics tried to find its place among the scientific community time and again. But I believe that next time it gets a floor like 19th century energy controversy, probably the energetics is going to prevail again. I'll skip that slide. And now I want to talk about the integration trade. There is a great wall between the natural science and social science. Let's not focus on the wall, but focus on what's the bridges. Based upon my natural science background, I can say that the literature talks about the 3 trades: energy, entropy, and the information. These are the representative books for them. The entropy, probably all of us know Nicholas Rogetien, and the information, that's Cedar Hidalgo from MIT Media Lab, and that's Vaclav Smil. And the energy is an integration trade because we know about the biosphere. Biosphere consists of many ecosystems in it, and it's an open system, and it receives energy from a sun. And that's the zone of life on this planet. If the biosphere runs on energy is the lifeblood of a biosphere, then probably every subset within that biosphere would have same characteristics as a universal set. Therefore, the human society, which is subsystem of a biosphere, should have some characteristics and dynamism of energy. That's the one basis as an integration trade. Second one is the energy and growth nexus. Many people have talked about this before. There is very good correlation between energy and the growth, but there is no consensus on a causality that all of us know. EROI, our great captain Charlie, thanks. It's a great variable. It's a great variable that links with the economic growth, but it also has some inherent problem. Something like it cannot be used to measure the human action. I don't know how Charlie gonna explain a calorie of food taken by a addition, say, to a calorie of a food, say, by a Donald Trump. These 2 calories has produced different value in our society. That's never gonna explain by a variable like EROI. But I still agree that it's a very valuable and the revealing variable, but my theory is going to take that into account. Economic growth engine, that's what I borrowed from Professor Ayers. It's the title of one of his papers.
What?
And economic growth engine requires, on that basis, I claim that economic growth engine not only requires energy from a natural science, as we know, but also the energy from the social science. And it has, as a regular heat engine, it has a desirable outcome as well as the consequences on our natural ecosystem. I think I'm running out of time, and whatever, this is Pierre Bourdieu. He has written a very good article on the forms of capital. Whatever he calls capital translates to energy in a social field theory, and we have three types of asset in a society. This asset has a different degree of dynamism. Like economic asset is the most kinetic one, and whereas social asset is the most potential asset. And do you know what Putnam is doing there? He wrote a 550-page book. The title is Bowling Alone. But he's doing, damn, this BPE guy thinks that's a first law of energy. The conclusion of this book is that you put more emphasis on the economic asset, that's going to have toll on the social asset. That's what the book all about, and that's my effort to reconcile on the structured knowledge in the social science in terms of social energy. Thank you very much, and I'll stop here.
5 minutes for discussion. Discussion should might as well cover the whole set of papers instead of time between.
So, Ram, in your first slide, you had a big picture of Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, who was very famous for saying that the truth is in the whole. So, how do we get to the whole of the relation between complex human societies and energy goals?
Actually, I don't know too much about Hegel, but why I put him there is kind of his Hegel philosophy, where he tries to synthesize thesis and the antithesis without suppressing each other. That's what I thought I'm trying to do, and that's the reason I put there. I still have to learn more about him. Sorry, I would not be able to.
Okay.
Ram, so your talk is on social field theory, and you talked about Durkheim and Pierre Bourdieu. A big question that's been going on in that subject matter. In your slide, you mentioned the gravitational force, the electric force, and the magnetic force. So, your own understanding of your own social field theory, which one of those, if it's an existing thing, it has to be based on the forces of physics. So, what name do you give to the social field in terms of those three forces?
Actually, the name is pretty much the same like a social force. We also have a journal called Social Force.
No, but I mean, in which specific? Is it gravitational, is it electromagnetic, or is it a combination of all three?
They're all based on the same formalism, therefore I don't have to go for the specific. These all field theory are based on same formalism.
Okay.
That means their force nature is same.
Thank you.
I'm going to make the comment I was going to make about Kent.
I was going to make a comment myself.
You asked for comments.
Raise your hand. I didn't see any.
When I first started, Kent is one of the best economists I know because he's an economic historian, and he doesn't think just in terms of biophysical economics, with which I was having a great deal of trouble. And when we first interacted, he said something or another to me, and I said, how can you say that as a Marxist economist, which he had introduced himself to me as, and he said, I am no longer a Marxist economist. Once you understand biophysical economics, there can be no other way. I just thought I would throw that out. Yes, now.
Okay, I'll comment. I studied physics for a long time, and then I switched slowly, in the 50 years I've been working in economics.
Speak up.
I'll tell you one thing, that economics is not physics. Some of you seem to have been confused about that. They're not the same. There are a few analogies.
Long enough. Maybe you didn't study long enough.
I did.
Well, it has to be constrained by physics like anything else.
I could explain a lot if I had an hour, but I don't have, and I won't even start now. Are there any other comments? Yeah.
I was a little bit disturbed by the fact that there seems to be a consistent effort to create analogies between physical theories and social scientific theories. Now, there are issues with it. Anybody who knows anything about social science is that the fundamental difference between natural science and social science is that social sciences thrive upon developing novel concepts and novel theories. And somehow I was looking for a kind of acceptance of the richness of social theorizations. And I would actually remind you that one of the heroes that was mentioned, Michael Pollan, has specifically said this, that there are fundamentally different realities.
As has his brother Carl.
Yes.
Charlie Hall was talking about secular stagnation globally and also as a principle of development. I'm wondering if it's that the globe and economists and the economies have taken to heart the precept of ecological economics of steady state and degrowth, and that's a result.
The answer is no. Whether that's a good reason for no or a bad reason for no, they don't consider it. Speaking from system science, almost all economics is about what's going on inside the box and has very little to do and almost no understanding or appreciation of what we call forcing functions or things from outside the system, and that's one of the things we seek to do in biophysical economics, is to include the appropriate forcing functions. And I admit, all of this is very, very complicated, and that's why Kent, from perspective of economics, and myself from the perspective of biophysical whatever, are attempting to seek and do statistical analysis, of which seems to be more potent.
Is there any upside to secular stagnation?
Questions yet?
Is there any upside to secular stagnation?
I would think so. I think many people in this room would think so, but...
Please continue that outside. Yes, sir?
But I would like to make a statement, and that is, you cannot make a real good science without the proper math.
I agree with that.
Anybody else?
But it's got to be appropriate, not just good.
Red shirt.
My question is about how to communicate these different traditions of wisdom, of the social science and the physical science. How do you communicate between expressions? Do you find trouble doing that? Is it the same language? How do you do that?
Yeah. No. Word. More questions? All right. That's what we're trying to do here, Ken.
Yeah.
Yes?
The gentleman at the camera asked what someone would suggest was wrong with Jurgen's presentation. I have a couple of simple things I might add for that. The spring analogy had no interest rate. I think that should be included. The double entry accounting, I think only balanced because the numbers were the same. That it's not exactly a one-to-one correspondence between euros and kilocalories. And I just want to make
Looking is not the basis of economics.
well, that's what he was arguing. But one more thing, that in the heat pump analogy, the difference between the outside and the inside temperatures have to be relatively small for the unit to be efficient.
Small, for the motor it's big, it's the reverse, that's the reverse counterclockwise. You see, and the industry is the motor of the economy. and it works exactly the same way. Produce cheap and sell expensive. And if you don't do that, if you sell at the same price, it's going to be zero. And the motor runs hot, and the lower temperature reaches the upper temperature, the motor stops. This is the same mechanism.